Hey guys, this is SansCorpsTarot, and today I am back again with another pick a card reading. I'm excited for this one because this one's going to be your sexual dynamic with your future spouse. So it is going to be an 18 plus reading because it will have explicit themes and explicit messages in it. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm just going to dive deep into what your sexual dynamic is like, just what roles each other plays in the bedroom. So we have 4 groups for you today. Group 1, you have this card, Forgive. Group 2, you have this card, Evil Queen. You deserve sugar, not salt. Flower, or group number 3, you have this card, Flower. Be honest with yourself. And group number 4, you have Wings. You never needed these wings to fly. So yeah, these are just cards that I'm not going to use these cards too many to get messages about like the actual sexual dynamic itself, but these cards are mainly meant to help you guys find your groups. So yeah, meditate on the energy, put yourself in the vibe of fantasizing about, having sex with your future spouse. Not exactly for the first time, but imagine, you've been in a relationship with them and you've been having sex with them for a while. And just try to be in that energy the best you can, and then find whichever group you're drawn to or whichever group matches that energy. But yeah, I will see you guys in your reading. Bye. Hello, group number 1. If you chose this card, Forgive, Red, Forgive, this will be your pile all about your sexual dynamic with your future spouse. So first of all, red is always such like an intensely like sexual, sensual color. It also reminds me of like Taylor Swift's Red album. But so I think that I think that your sexual dynamic is going to be a little, on the darker side. Not, actually on the darker side, but I feel like you guys are very much the type of people to embrace your sort of like, maybe kinkier side or the more passionate, exciting side of sex. I think that this is, sex is for a way for you guys like to express yourselves to each other, but also to connect you guys deeper, like on a relationship level, like in a sensual way. But so I think, sex isn't just about, making love for you guys, but I think it's an actual form of like self-expression and, validating yourselves. Maybe you guys, identify as queer, or maybe you guys just, feel like there's been some little journey that you've been on when it comes to sort of like sexual awakenings or validating and empowering yourself in your sexuality. And so I feel like this relationship is really going to help you see that through, and this dynamic, it's going to be, you guys are going to, bring out the sexual intensity in each other, and you guys are going to like help validate each other's sexuality in a way, because you guys will like sort of, I think, yeah, you guys will mirror each other in a lot of like, the kinks or fetishes that you guys may have, or you guys mirror each other in like each other's interest in exploring those things. But let's get some other messages. So, first I'm gonna roll these die. I use these in my other 18 plus reading, these story die that I have. So I'm going to use them, just see what comes out, if any. I'll let whatever die want to come out. But let's see, pile 1. Pile 1's sexual dynamic with their future spouse. Let's see what comes out. Pile 1's sexual dynamic. Ooh. Okay, so a few wanted to come out. Interesting. So we have this, the triangle, or like the pyramid. We have the hot air balloon. We had this face, like kind of sneaky face. And then we have the speech bubble. Okay, so I feel like you guys are going to be very vocal during sex. I think so. The pyramid makes me think of like deep spirituality. So I think that this is like a very deep connection, obviously, that you have with your future spouse. They're going to be your future spouse. So I would hope you guys have like a real connection, but it's going to be deeply spiritual. I think that sex is something that's sort of really, it's an important aspect of your relationship, beyond just being, a source of pleasure. It is definitely like a love language. I feel like that, how you guys express your love for each other, and it helps you guys feel loved by the other. Let's get some more cards though. I want to get some apples to apples cards. But yeah, with the hot air balloon, I mean, I think that the sex is incredible with you guys. I think that you guys really make a point of exploring whatever fantasy the other has, and in a very like exciting and healthy way for both of you guys. So I think that you're probably the type of people, you don't have like, you know, you don't have like standard sex. I feel like you guys aren't gonna just like, have missionary a lot. Like you guys are going to, you guys will either, you guys will probably have a lot of spontaneous sex. There's gonna be a lot of, excitement to your sex life. Even if you guys do just do, a classic pose like missionary or something, I think that it would be like, spontaneous. So I think that it would be like, I don't know, like a quickie or something. And so there would be some aspect of like excitement to it. I don't think that there's going to be any point where it's just like, you guys come back from a long day of work, you make dinner together, and then you just have, classic sex on your bed before you go to sleep. No, it's going to be like maybe one person comes home early from work and like surprises the other, by just like, coming up behind them and like grabbing them and touching them. But there's going to be a lot of exciting, spontaneous energy because you guys just sort of like need that. I feel like you guys aren't just, you're not gonna, it's not like just a box to check. It's not like you're like, oh, I'm feeling a little horny, I guess I have to let out this energy and, have sex with my partner. No, it's like almost like a hobby of you guys, like your sexual escapades with each other. And I think that you guys both really enjoy it. There's an emphasis on like both of you. Like I don't think that it's like the main focus isn't going to be only what you want to do. The main focus isn't going to be only what they want to do. It's going to be a beautiful balance of like what both of you guys want to do. And I think that it makes both of you very excited. I think that, maybe you guys are both like sort of kinkier people, but maybe you guys have different kinks. But I think that you are going to really enjoy being able to, like provide the kink that the other person is into, because you're really gonna enjoy the sense of fulfillment that they get from it. It's giving me the energy of like you guys will both get off on the fact that other people or the other is getting off. It's like you're getting hornier because the other person is getting turned on. It's very sweet. It's a sweet energy, which is like incredible because it's also like such an intensely like scorpionic sensual sexual energy. Colorful. Yeah, you guys are going to have exciting sex. A lot of different things. You guys could have a lot of different toys, positions that you experiment with. Gentle. So there's going to be like a lot of different types of sex that you guys have too. Like, but regardless, the message is that every time you have sex, it is going to be an event. Like sometimes you guys probably will be making like sensual love, and it's not going to be just like quick, horny, like kinky sex. Sometimes maybe you will do like missionary, but it'll be in a very like sensual, loving way with like a lot of build up and a lot of foreplay to make it still feel really important. You guys aren't ever going to feel like you're just having very casual, typical, normal sex. Like every sexual experience you have with each other is going to be very, very new and very exciting in some way. Shiny, yeah, that's that energy. New and exciting sex, shiny, bright, glossy. I think that you guys definitely could be, very verbal, or maybe that's like some of your guys' kinks, maybe some of you guys really like, dirty talk, or the other person likes it. And so, yeah, there's just like the willingness to, on both ends, you guys both are very willing to provide and do things for the other person because you know that that's what like turns them on, and the fact that they get turned on by it very much turns you on. So let's get some more Cards Against Humanity cards. This is fun though. I don't know. I never like know how these sexual readings are gonna go because I'm not an overly sexual person myself. So I'm like, what energy can I possibly pick up? But no, like I'm excited at the messages that are coming out. But let's see, pile one. Pile one, sexual dynamic with their future spouse. This is like from the my Cards Against Humanity deck that's like the sexual cards. So let's see. Pile one, sexual dynamic with their future spouse. We have fingering. And we have, oh, concealing a boner. Okay, so that's, this is exciting. I'm feeling like, yeah, you guys will probably, because there is such like an exciting energy to your guys' sexual dynamic, I'm feeling like you guys will like just be turned on by each other in like the most random places, probably in a lot of public places, if I'm being honest. You guys may be a little bit into exhibitionism and like trying to get away with what you can in public, but I'm feeling like mostly it's an energy of like you guys are just going to be out with each other and just like spontaneously like look at each other, make eye contact, and be like so insanely horny for the other person, and you guys are both like at the same time like, yeah, it's time to leave, it's time to go back home so that we can see this energy through. Yeah, a lot of, so fingering, it's, I mean, it's just gonna be so like so mutually sensual, you know, like they're gonna, you know, if you're the type of person who is able slash willing to be fingered, they will finger you. If they're a person who is able and willing to be fingered, you will finger them. I feel like fingering specifically is very like, you know, woman centric or like vagina haver centric. But I feel like it's mostly, when I think of fingering, I think of, you know, the guy, like, you know, fingering a girl, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. They're fingering her instead of using their penis. It's something, you know, a little more, always to me, it gives me the vibe of, oh, so selfless of you. Which, you know, maybe that's not valid at all. But, you know, there is like, you guys are both going to be pretty selfless, like, for each other. But, like, it's not selfless in like a martyr sort of way. It's selfless in like being selfless in sex also turns you guys on. So it's not like you're, honestly, like being selfless is almost like a little selfish for you guys because, yeah, just watching the other person get turned on and get off on like their kinks and the things that they're into is really going to excite you guys. Teenage pregnancy. So I think that this is just telling you guys are going to have like a lot of sex very frequently. And you guys, if you're able to become pregnant, you guys could get pregnant very, very easily, very quickly. So watch out for that. But yeah, it's just like constant sex energy. That's what I'm getting from this. Oh yeah, so I'm going to get, so this new deck that I got yesterday, the Mundane or Magic Mundane Tarot deck, it has some poems in it, so I'm going to get some cards from this, or I'm going to get like one card from this, because I want to see if the poems that it has on it have any messages. So let's see, give me a card for pile one, sexual dynamic with their future spouse. Pile one, we had a few cards, so I'm going to bring them back because we had way too many. So give me a card for pile one, sexual dynamic with their future spouse. Okay, so we have the Four of Lighters, which is the Four of Wands. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so it says bonfire, saturine, toasted marshmallows, sticky with sweet smoke and smiles. Without these moments, what's the point? We were warm, we were happy, I forget the rest. Oh, so that's such a wonderful energy. So the Four of Wands, if you guys like don't remember, that's, it's like the tradition card or like the solid foundation card. It's like it has a little image of, you know, people like homecoming energy almost, but it's a card that usually talks about like tradition and solid commitment and like marriage a lot of the time. So you guys are going to like, it's a wonderful energy because you guys are so deeply loyal and committed to each other. Like I think that you guys are truly like devoted to each other. And I think that that translates into the bedroom. Like you guys just have, like in your relationship, you guys are very deeply committed and loyal to one another, and you have like the utmost respect for the other. I feel like you guys are probably very similar people in some regards, and so there's just like a mutual respect that's very strong between both of you. And I think that that translates very much into the bedroom. And so you guys are very comfortable with one another, and you guys have a lot of respect for like what the other wants to do sexually. And so even if it's a little kinkier, even if it's like a little, maybe weirder, I think that you guys are going to have a lot of respect for the other, and you guys are, you're not going to see it any less than, this is just an example. Foot fetishes, foot fetishes are, sometimes they're stigmatized, but like this is the type of relationship where it's like if one of you has a foot fetish, the other's not going to look at you funny for it. They're going to be like, okay, then I guess let's give them some feet in the bedroom. It's like if that's what they're into, that's what I'm giving them, which is a very nice wholesome energy, because it is, yeah, like you guys just want to pleasure the other. You guys want to yeah, like have the other person, feel this deep sort of sensual, sexual fulfillment with the other. So we're getting, so this little poem was like pretty like sensual and sensory, like sensory wise explicit in its in the words. It says, sticky with sweet smoke and smiles. So yeah, I think that you guys are going to be, especially with the concealing a boner, you guys are going to be like constantly very horny and excited for each other. And I think, so yeah, there's a lot of horniness, but mostly it's just a lot of like excitement, like true, genuine excitement, like as if you're like going on an adventure or something, because it is like, like you guys both feel like, oh, the world is my oyster, or you guys both feel like, the sexual world is my oyster, because you feel like you can like try out anything with this person. You feel very comfortable with it, and so it excites you. You're like, oh man, I have a person that I love, that loves me back, that is just willing to try all of these like crazy and weird and maybe like funny or silly or at times uncomfortable like sexual fantasies with me. Maybe you guys just, maybe you don't even have like any real specific kinks, but maybe you just have like a lot of like fleeting interest in kinky type things. So maybe you're like, oh, I want to try out, role playing, or I want to try out like, S&M or like domination or something. Like maybe it's not like you really obsessed with like, having that be a staple part of your relationship, but you just, maybe you have a real vested interest in trying it, and this person's gonna be like, yeah, bet, let's do it, let's try it, let's go for it. Yeah, and it's going to happen like a lot in public. So yeah, it's like you guys are gonna get horny for each other in public, but also it's like you guys are just gonna like think of something you want to do like in the bedroom with each other, and you're gonna be like, yeah, okay, this party is not nearly as fun as what we're gonna do when we get home, so let's leave. Let's see if I can get any more messages about your guys' sexual dynamic with your future spouse. Very colorful, but yeah, like you guys are going to have times where you make love, because you guys do like, sex is very important for you, so it's a way to express yourselves and your own sort of like sexuality and creativity, but it's also a way to like bring you guys closer together, and it is a love language of your guys's. So that you will, it's not going to just be like kinky, exciting sex that you guys will occasionally have, slow, gentle, loving sex, but it's going to be very, very purposeful when you do, so you're not always going to just have like slow, sensual sex. You're going to have a lot of like exciting sex, because sex is just something that you guys want to experience in your relationship. It doesn't hold only one role. It holds a lot of different roles in your relationship. And so let's get some more cards for pile number 1, sexual dynamic with your future spouse. We got a few cards that flipped over. So we have foodies. So yeah, you guys could be the type to like want to bring food into the bedroom. Yeah, like, and again, just like experiment with it even, but this is also giving me the energy of like, maybe if you guys are like out at a restaurant, you guys are like playing footsie, or you guys are doing something like a little sensual under the table, like rubbing each other's legs, maybe, like putting your hands somewhere a little provocative or something. Not anything illegal. I'm not promoting anything illegal either. But I think that you guys will just like want to constantly be. I think that there's also going to be a point in your relationship where you're like, you guys will almost like constantly be thinking about sex in some way. Like, yeah, so it's like even if you go out to dinner, you're like, man, when we get home, we're gonna get it on. Um, yeah, I don't know if you guys have like maybe a little repressed of a sexual background because this relationship regardless is going to be very sexually liberating for you guys. Oh yeah, we have date night. So yeah, so foodies date night. You guys could do a lot of role playing honestly with each other. Or I'm feeling like yeah, you guys like going out and having fun and like almost like turning each other on by like each other's presences almost. Like it's giving me an energy. You guys like feeling like you guys are just like dating again, even when you guys are in like a committed marriage. You guys like going out and like maybe doing things that like young couples that are just newly dating do. Maybe like go to a movie, go to a restaurant, go on a walk, go to a park, but you like almost feeling like you're like a new couple again because then it helps like build up this sexual tension all over again. And it very much is like you guys will have dates or like days that you spend together where it's just like both of you, like the sexual tension is building inside of you guys during like the entirety of that date. And then you go home and you have incredible, fun, exciting sex, probably multiple rounds if I'm being honest. Generation X. So that could be just like the generation that you or them belong to. Take what resonates. I think Generation X, those are the people who are like, I think they're a little younger. Let's see. Born between, oh, no. They're older. Wow. Born between 1961 and 1981. Gen Xers are called the MTV generation. Okay, so maybe, yeah, you guys could be born between 1961 and 1981. Maybe they could be born between then. Take what resonates. And then we have free speech. Yeah, so I think that you guys are going to feel very comfortable with the other. You guys aren't going to be worried about expressing your wants in the bedroom. You guys aren't going to be insecure about not being able to like provide or do the thing that the other wants. You guys are going to be very clear about what you want and what you want to experience in the bedroom, and you guys aren't going to take it personally when the other like vocalizes those things, like if someone's like, I like it when you talk dirty to me, the other person's not going to get insecure at how little they talk dirty, they're just going to be like, okay, so maybe let's do this more because they're really into it. All right, yeah, totally, let's do it. Or it's like, if you're like, like if you're getting fingered or they're getting fingered and the person's like, oh, could you go slower? The other person's not gonna, get in their head like, oh, I was doing too fast. Like they probably hate me now, or they probably think I'm like, just bad at sex or something. No, you guys are just gonna hear it objectively for what it is. And what it is you guys both just want to have a pleasurable experience in the bedroom. So you're not going to take things personally. You're just going to be like, okay, yeah. It's going to be very much like a teamwork thing, which is like the beauty in it. When I was like coming into this reading, I was like, I wonder what messages are going to come out. Is it just going to be like, centered around the feminine? But no, this is like a very balanced relationship. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys both have very like balanced energies within you. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a relationship that does not have a clearly defined feminine and masculine energy. You guys could both have like a very balanced energy of masculine and feminine within you, just because this sexual dynamic is very, very balanced, which is beautiful. But okay, pile one, I am going to leave it there. Ah, this was a fun reading. If you liked this reading, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe, but definitely subscribe so that I can tap into your energy again in the future and you can get up to date with all of the readings that I post. And yeah, feel free to comment any readings you would like me to see. Or yeah, you would like to see yourselves. But I'm going to leave it there. Have a nice day or night whenever you're watching this. Yeah, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Hello, pile 2. If you chose Evil Queen, you deserve sugar, not salt. This will be your reading about your sexual dynamic with your future spouse. So the first thing I'm going to do is I have these little story cubes that I'm going to roll just to get a vibe for your sexual dynamic with your future spouse. So right off the bat with Evil Queen, you deserve sugar, not salt. I feel like this probably will be, the type of sexual dynamic that is a little more geared towards one person, I think that probably this is going to be a dynamic where the focal point is probably going to be the feminine energy, or the energy that's just maybe been a little more slighted when it comes to love in general. Let's get some some story die for pile number 2 for their sexual dynamic with their future spouse. Alright, this is funny. One just sort of rolled out of my hand as I was putting them back, but so I'll use it. So we have the house. Well, I'll do them in order. First we had the hand that came out, and then we had, I think it was the house, and then the lock, and then the 2 little faces, the dramatic faces. Okay, so I'm getting you guys are very protective and probably a little defensive of each other, or yeah. I think that you guys have a very close, tight bond. I think that you guys are each other's ride or die, and I think it is probably because you guys have been you guys probably have both been slighted in the past when it comes to relationships. And so I think that you guys are just very protective of each other, because it's almost like, before you guys come into union, you guys both are I'm a loving person, but I feel like I need to be a very strong defender of myself because other people keep coming in and walking all over me, and I'm not going to put up with that anymore. But then it's you meet this other person who's almost the exact same way. They are also someone who's needs to put up walls to make sure that they don't get walked all over. And so I think that you guys see the similarities in each other, and you guys sort of put down your walls for the other, and you guys sort of almost build your own little house together, where then you put up walls. So there is a little bit of an energy of you guys living in your own little bubble together. You guys do try to you don't try to seclude yourself from the outside world, but it's you guys know that the other is your person, and you don't necessarily trust a lot of people you meet in the world, but you know this other person, you know your future spouse, and you trust them with every part of your soul, because they almost are just an extension of you. That's the energy that this is giving me. It's giving me a lot of very, very intense energy. You guys could resonate with the twin flame sort of relationship, because I'm picking up a little bit about that sort of the intensity of that energy. Let's get some more cards though. Let's get some, I'm gonna get some apples to apples. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get some apples to apples cards. Yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of, you guys are gonna, they're gonna wanna make you comfortable. Okay, and I'm just assuming that you're the feminine, but you could be the masculine watching this. I think, but, and honestly, in this reading, I feel like the feminine is just going to be whoever is maybe a little bit more insecure or a little bit more beaten up when it comes to sex and romantic relationships. I think that whoever is the person that maybe, not even if they necessarily had a rougher background when it comes to sex and love, but I think that there's just one person who maybe they have a little bit more trauma when it comes to it. Maybe they're just a little bit more anxious, and the events that transpired just affected them more than it probably would have affected other people. And so there's one person who's maybe they had their walls up a little bit more than the other person did. And so I think that, whoever did have those walls up more, I think that they're going to be the focal point of the sexual dynamic, because I think in general, not to say they're going to be the focal point of the relationship, but I think that they could be. Or it's just, the other person is going to really, really care about their emotions. And so I'm going to just refer to I'm going to just use the phrases feminine and masculine just to make it easy for me to express. But yeah, so I think that the focal point of the sexual dynamic is going to be the feminine energy, but I think in general the focal point of the relationship dynamic is going to be the feminine energy. And not because the feminine energy demands that, but I think just because the masculine energy wants that. The masculine energy just is preoccupied with the feminine's energy, which that's not always the healthiest to be in. You definitely need to watch out for boundary issues and codependency. But I mean, I'm feeling mostly like you guys just really have found the person that you're the most comfortable with in the entire world. And so you guys are almost okay with having absolutely no boundaries with each other, because it's I have such strong boundaries with literally everyone else. This person that I trust with my entire being, I don't need to put up my walls with them. We have jolly. Yeah, so you guys are sex is done with the purpose of making you guys feel good. It could be that maybe you guys aren't always in the mood for sex, or maybe sometimes, take what resonates, but maybe sometimes you or your person goes through bouts of depression, or just, maybe some sort of mental things that make your libido very low, or just things that make you just simply not in the mood for having sex. And maybe this is even just, maybe you guys are the type of person, maybe you have a lot of going on, career wise, or you just have a lot of aspirations, and so you're a busy person, and so maybe you guys just happen to have throughout the course of your relationship, you guys are going to have a lot of time periods where you're just simply not able to have sex, or you don't have the energy to have sex or something. And so when you guys do have sex, it's going to be a beautiful moments of reconnection for you guys, and a beautiful way to bridge your energy after whenever anything else is going on. So I don't know if that was too vague or not, but an example is maybe you guys naturally your life stories and journeys just are that, so that maybe when you're in your marriage with your future spouse, or your committed relationship with your life partner, maybe you just experience a lot of extended family drama, and maybe you just need to take long periods of time for your family, or maybe there's just just things going on that make life feel you're not in the mood to have sex. Maybe it's something you have a lot of really intense family drama, and so when you're going through those periods of your life, you're just not thinking about sex. You don't want to it's not really on your mind, but this person is going to be there and be ready and receptive to whenever you feel you are in the mood. They're not going to press anything. They're going to be someone who really, they try to read the room. They're going to try to read your emotions. They're really not going to want to say anything to make you feel pressured, because, sex is going to be a source of enjoyment, fulfillment, and connection in your relationship. So I think that they're if you're upset about your family drama, this person isn't gonna, they're gonna know that when you're too upset with your family drama to be in the mood for sex. And conversely, they're gonna know when you're so upset with your family drama, you want to be distracted by sex. So they're gonna really try to reach you. That's what's coming through with this too. There could be, honestly, and this could just be if you guys, especially if you guys resonate with the message of being a twin flame, I know in general, regardless of the twin flame relationship itself, if you are a person in a twin flame relationship, your individual journey is very chaotic and hectic. So you guys could just simply, this is probably just talking about your life in the future. You're going to go through obstacles. I think it's not any obstacles that you can't overcome, but I don't think that you're going to have the most smooth sailing life And I just think that, I mean, I think that that's probably something that you know, and I think it's something that you are like embrace wholeheartedly, because I don't think that you're necessarily the type of person to want a life that's just like monotonous and stagnant and very like easy and predictable. But so this person is going to be there and be ready to give you what you need in the moment. And I think honestly, the main messages that are coming out in this reading are like not even like explicit sexual messages, but it's like beautiful relationship messages, because I think that your sexual dynamic is very much going to mirror your relationship dynamic. You guys are going to be very respectful of the other. You guys aren't going to push anything. You guys have a very loving relationship. Sex is important, but above all, you guys, like, the friendship is the most important part of your relationship, and the security and safety that you feel with the other. Because, yeah, so, I mean, with the cards coming out, we have jolly, happy, funny, and comfortable. That's what it's going to be like, you know? These aren't any, like, overtly explicit cards. Sex is going to be comfortable. Maybe you guys aren't really the type to want to branch out, or maybe you guys, you know, maybe you're the type of person who, like, you love missionary, you love classic type of sex styles, you love things that are predictable, but maybe you're like, oh, once in a blue moon, I want to try doggy style, and I'm getting wild, you know? And this person is there and they're like, okay, yeah, totally, let's do it. Let's do doggy style now. You know, they are very preoccupied with what makes you comfortable. But I mean, I'm not saying that that's like in a selfish way, whereas like you don't care about their comfort, but I think that they have a little bit more of like an open energy, whereas you know, I feel like if you're familiar with this term, I feel like you're the rate limiting factor, you know? So I feel like they probably are ready and open to sex a lot more frequently probably than you are, and I think that could just be because of things going on in your life. Like maybe you're going to be in a program, or maybe you'll, you know, start a new job, or you'll, like, you know, have a very chaotic career life journey. So you may just simply go through periods in your life where you're just simply not up to having sex as much as, you know, maybe this person would be. But I don't think that they're definitely not going to say anything, and they're going to be fine with it too, you know? They're not like overly horny, but I think it's like they're just have such a chill, lax, go with the flow energy. You know, it's like if you were super horny and always wanting to have sex, this person would be like, okay, yeah, cool, I'm down with that. But, you know, even when you go through periods of like, you know, my family is really putting me through it right now, I'm just simply not in the mood to have sex, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, totally, no, that's good, I'm fine with that. They're probably gonna, you know, you could have some insecurities in the bedroom, maybe when it comes to just like, it could be when it comes to sexual performance, or just like your body or something, and I think that they're going to really want to make you comfortable. There's a lot of energy of like unspokenness, you know? I feel like you guys really try to interpret the other's like emotions a lot, especially this person towards you, or the masculine person towards the feminine person. I think that you guys like, and I don't think that communication is necessarily an issue, but I think that you guys do have a strong psychic bond, and I think there's some energy of like, you guys don't really want to verbalize a lot of things, you know? Like, it could be when you guys are going through periods of not, you know, wanting to have sex, really, you guys don't really want to say that, you know? You don't want to have to tell this person, no, honestly, I'm actually not in the mood tonight for sex. You're not really going to want to say that, so this person is going to pick up on that, and they're just not going to push it anyway, you know? There's a lot of unspoken things, and not because you're unable to communicate with each other, but just because it's almost like easier and less like emotionally taxing to just like psychically connect with this person, you know? And same like with the sexual things, you know? So sometimes you're in the mood to be really, you know, maybe really kinky and exotic and it's spicy, you know? Maybe you're like, ooh, babe, like tonight let's try out like a dildo or something. And they're gonna just, and or maybe you won't even say that, but maybe just like your attitude, your demeanor is going to be so lighthearted and fun that they're gonna be like, oh, okay, I think that my partner right now is like really gonna be into like, you know, kinky sex. So they're probably gonna bring it up to you. They're gonna be like, oh, hey, like, you know, you want to try out like a dildo or something? And you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, heck yeah, like that sounds so fun, let's do it. But then they're also gonna notice when maybe you're a little bit, maybe like a little emotionally needy. So maybe they'll notice like when you're feeling a little unloved, and when you guys need to use sex for like just reconnecting with each other, like romantically. And so they'll notice when you're still in the mood to have sex, but maybe when you're in the mood to have more loving sex, or when you're like, they'll be able to notice when them suggesting like having kinkier sex is going to make you feel insecure about not kinky sex, and they're gonna know when you're in the mood to be receptive to having kinky sex. So they're gonna be able to like tell like the waves of like insecurity and emotional vulnerability that you have, which I think you're going to be very appreciative of. Synergistic management solutions. So that tells me you guys are probably going to come together. I think that that's going to be, I think that you guys want to come together. I think that they want to come with you, or they definitely just want to, like, they want to help you climax and reach orgasm. I think that is going to be like sort of what turns them on, and yeah, what gets them off. Then we have my relationship status. Yeah, it could be also like you guys could take a little bit before having sex with each other. Permanent orgasm phase disorder, that's so funny. And then giving 110%. Yeah, so this is telling me like when you guys have sex, you have sex. And maybe you guys don't have sex so frequently, or maybe it's just like regardless, ever so slightly inconsistent. You know, so this could be like maybe you guys like for months you have sex like all the time, you're super horny, but then maybe you go through like a little bit of like seasonal depression where you're just simply not in the mood of having sex. But so like when you guys do have sex though, when you're in it, like they're in it. It's a beautiful energy because they're going to meet you wherever you are. So they're going to have sex with you in whatever way, whatever capacity that you are ready for, willing for, and like receptive to in that moment. So, you know, if they can tell when you're like ready to get like pardon the like explicitness, they know when you are ready to get like absolutely railed by them. Like they know when you are just like in the mood to just like have like dirty, nasty, filthy, aggressive sex. But then they also like know when you're in the mood, maybe like when you're a little bit more needy emotionally. So, and they can pick up on that and they're like, oh no, tonight this person just needs like missionary and strong eye contact. And so this is so funny. This is so funny. Yeah, and so they're going to meet you wherever you are, and it's going to be like so accurate 100% of the time, 110% of the time even. Maybe they know what you need better than you do. So maybe like it could be that you're going through like a bout of insecurity, or maybe this is a message that's coming through. Maybe during these periods of time where you're just not in the mood to have sex, maybe you get really insecure about that and you try to come on to this person because you feel insecure about them not having sex. And so, but it's like you just feel bad and guilty about not having sex with them. So you try to get on to them and like, you know, seduce them, but they're like, you know, honestly, no, and they're the ones that stop it. But maybe even if they probably do want to have sex, but they know that you're not actually in it and that you're just, you know, trying to have sex with them because you feel guilty about not having sex with them. And so they're going to be very receptive to that, and they're going to be like, sorry, babe, no, like, not tonight, like, I don't think we should, it's not a good idea. And they'll be like, how about we just cuddle or something? Or it's like, you know, if you go through something and you just immediately like come home, like maybe you like, I don't know, have a fight with someone, and you just immediately come home and you're like, oh, I want to have aggressive sex. And it's like, no, they can tell like, no, you don't really want to have aggressive sex. You actually just are like really have a lot of pent up frustration at this thing that's happening. And so let's have like, you know, nice, loving, sensual sex where you can like, you know, feel connected to another human being instead of just feel like, you know, sex is some aggressive thing for you to take your anger out with, you know. So they're gonna be very, very emotionally in tune, especially when it comes to your emotions. They're gonna be able to read your emotions very, very well. But I want to get one of these cards. So this is Mundane Magic Tarot deck. So I'm going to get, yeah, one of these because they have little poems on them. And I want to see what comes out for the little poem to see if I can intuitively get anything from the words. Let's do one more shuffle. All right. So pile two, sexual dynamic with their future spouse. How to sexual dynamic with our future spouse. 2 cards, 3 cards flipped out. So we have the Pupil of Lattes, which I believe is the page. Let's see. No, the pupil is the Knight. So the Knight of Cups. We have the Knight of Cups. I'll put it here. The Knight of Cups, or the Knight of Cups, the Two of Swords, and then the Devil. Yeah, okay, so let's read. Man, so I want to read all these poems. Let's see. So, we'll read the Pupil of Lattes. So, the Knight of Cups. It says, class flirt, hopeless romantic or brooding teenager, vacillating between the things we do for love, but then I just don't feel like it, okay? Spilling charm and fluid creativity, it's notoriously hard to contain, isn't it? Everything can't be shiny and new forever. True art and true love requires stamina. Okay, so I mean, with the message of stamina, yeah, I think that especially with giving 110%, like they're not going to stop until you climax and reach orgasm, or until you like feel fulfilled in the sexual encounter. So maybe you do climax, but maybe you climax a little quickly, and so they're like, okay, you know what? Then that was just round 1. Let's go for it again. It is an energy. They want to fulfill the role that sex plays in that moment, like 100% of the way, So if they do see sex almost as like a tool that can be helpful at times and harmful at others. So, they're going to see like, oh yeah, I think that having like deep, passionate, sensual sex with them right now is going to help bring us back together into our relationship. Or they're going to be able to see like, actually, I think that having sex right now is going to make them feel like I'm only interested in sex, and it's not going to make them feel like loved as a person. And so they're very wary of that, of your emotions. It says class flirt, hopeless romantic. So I think that they're a hopeless romantic. I think that they could have had maybe rose-colored glasses in the past when it comes to people. I feel like they're just a very selfless person. They're really willing to like give a lot, just sort of a little naturally to you. And I mean, that was just giving me messages of like a little bit of your past. So maybe this person in the past, they really gave a lot of their energy to connections that weren't worth it. And that's what caused them to put up walls. But then it's like when they meet you, they're like, oh no, this is actually the person who is exactly worth giving all of my time and energy to and having no walls up around. But then I'm also going to read the Devil. So it says, the Devil, phantom vibrating, bloodshot eyes straining through unnatural blue light, scroll, thigh gaps, influencers curated and face-tuned. That time you were picked last in gym class. That group of middle school friends who made you the other. Teenage Darwinism. Do you remember? Shame and diffidence. You're not a teenager anymore. Only you get to determine who and what makes you small. Resist. Yeah, so I feel like other people made you feel small, and this relationship, the sexual dynamic specifically, is going to help build you back up, because it's going to give you exactly what you need in the moment when you need it. And not anything more, not anything less, because I'm not going to lie, sexual dynamics, I feel like it could have the potential to elicit insecurities in you, and just insecurities in your relationship in general, or insecurities in the feminine. And so I feel like, yeah, like you guys are just going to, I don't think that's going to be something that you're even that cognizant of, so much as the other person in the relationship is going to be very cognizant of it. You guys aren't going to want to make each other feel small. They're going to very much love and appreciate every part of you. They're going to know exactly what to say and what not to say. They're going to know when, touching a part of your body isn't going to make you feel loved. It's just going to make you feel insecure. But then conversely, they're going to know when you're in the mood where they could touch that same part of your body, but you would feel loved and not insecure. They're going to be able to read your just sort of temporary, fleeting, transient moments of sensitivity and vulnerabilities very well. And they're going to be able to the sexual dynamic is going to help build you up. I think that a lot of your relationship insecurities could, be boiled down to similar insecurities that you have in regards to your sexual relationships. And so I feel like this sexual relationship, the confidence and security that it builds, is going to seep into other aspects of your relationship and just like of your life in general. Because I feel like this person is just going to validate your emotions so much, and they're going to meet you exactly where you are. It's going to to make you feel less insecure with being in that place, you know, because they're going to love you regardless. They're going to be like, yeah, no, babe, I'm so down for having sex tonight. Or they're going to be like, no, it's not a problem. We don't have to have sex at all. We can just cuddle. Like, this is no problem. You know, they're going to love you the same regardless of anything. And there could be an energy of like the feminine feeling insecure and feeling like she has to give more sexually than they're willing to, or than they feel like energetically capable of, but they just feel guilt. And so that's why they give sexually. But then this person's going to see that and they're going to stop them in their tracks and say, no, 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 baby. You just do exactly what you need, exactly what makes you happy and you fulfilled. And, you know, that is enough for me. That's super wholesome. But okay, pile number 2, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you like this reading. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe especially so that you can keep up to date with my future readings, and so that you know, energetic bond between us does grow stronger when, you know, you subscribe or you like or you comment. So in the future, I could give you readings more closely tailored to your energy. But all right, I'm going to leave it there. Have a very nice day or night whenever you're watching this. Bye, guys. Hey, pile 3. If you chose flower, be honest with yourself. This is going to be your reading all about your sexual dynamic with your future spouse. So I gotta be honest with you guys. I did that thing again where I thought I pressed record and I did the entire friggin' reading, and I realized I did not press record. So, I also, like, I hope that it doesn't mean that I, like, you know, was recording during like the awkward moments where I'm just like setting up my cards or whatever, but I don't know, I'll find out after this. But so as you can see, I literally pulled all of your cards, like have your reading down and everything. And I'm just gonna do it over. So let's get right into it, because I gotta be real, my voice is hurting a little bit now, and so gosh, I need to be so much more careful with this in the future. But okay, so let's do your reading. So you have flower, be honest with yourself. And the first thing I want to say is that this girl just looks like she's, someone's going down on her. It looks like she's like getting ready to orgasm because someone's just like, you know, underneath her dress, just going at it. And so I think that oral could be a really intense part of your connection, just in general, like, you know, mouth pleasure and worshiping each other's body. I think that you guys are probably going to kiss each other a lot. I think that whoever's the focal point at the moment is going to be receiving a lot of like, you know, they're gonna like lick their body, they're gonna like kiss them in a lot of like little places, as they like gradually, you know, go down on them. But it's also giving me the vibe that I think that like, you know, you guys are almost gonna like take turns being the focal points. So I think that at one point it's going to be, you know, the masculine who's the focal point, then the other point is going to be the feminine, and then it's going to be like you guys are both like trying to come together. So it's giving me the energy of like, you know, first oral on the feminine, then oral on the masculine, and then you guys are both just going to have like, you know, penetrative sex together. So I think that there's a lot of worshiping of each other's bodies, but it also was giving me a lot of deeply sensual energy, which is interesting because, as I said, I did do this reading basically already, so I know the messages that came out. So the story die that we have are, you know, we have this arrow, we have this airplane, and we have this foot. So I feel like you guys are naturally very sensual, sexual people, but I think that you guys are also very driven and ambitious people. So I think that for you and your future spouse, I think that your careers and your aspirations and hobbies in general are going to be very important to you. So I think that you're probably not going to have as much time for sex and sexual pleasure, probably as much as you are anticipating you will right now, or as much as you like hope for in the future. And so I think that you and your future spouse are going to really have to like purposefully take time out for each other, like to have sex and to like experience those parts of your relationship. So I think that you guys, so it's giving me a lot of energy of like, you guys could just have very busy careers and you guys don't even realize it, but like, you know, it's been a week since you guys have had sex or something, and then you guys decide to take like a little weekend trip where like all you do on that weekend trip is stay in the hotel room and have a lot of sex and reconnect with each other heavily in that way because you hadn't connected in that way in a little bit. But I'm also getting, I think that you guys are pretty like into exciting sexual energy. I think that you guys are pretty like confident in your sexuality, or you will be in this relationship. And so I think that you guys, you're really into the sensual aspect of it. So I think that, you guys could have some kinkier type things that you're into. Once again, oral mouth things are a big focal point of this reading. Also, someone like nibbling the ears, maybe even like sucking the fingers or something. But like, with this foot, it's definitely giving me like foot fetish type vibe. So, foot fetish, foot worship, someone could be into that. But I think that just overall, like, the body is just deeply observed and appreciated, both people's bodies. But it is, because it does seem like a lot of your sex is going to be like person centric. It's going to be a lot of like oral or like fingering or something. It's not going to be a lot of like joint sex. So it feels like there's going to be a lot of opportunity for one person to really just like worship the other. But so I'm also getting like you guys could potentially be into like a little bit of like exhibitionism, you know? You guys could be into, doing it in public places. I'm not promoting anything illegal. I'm not sure the legalities of that or anything, but that's also what I was getting on this airplane. Maybe you guys will want to like take trips together. Yeah, it feels like you guys are both very, grounded people. You guys have like careers, aspirations, you guys have a social life, hobbies you want to do. And so it's like you almost feel like you need to like escape from that world whenever you want to just like be with your future spouse and like, be in their energy and like feel very sexually fulfilled. It feels like you need to like, escape somehow. So it's like maybe you guys, regularly schedule trips with each other, like even just weekend getaways. But I think that taking time out, like physically separating yourselves from your surroundings is going to be very important for your connection, specifically your sexual connection, because I think that it'll just, like, you're not even really going to remember to have sex that much when you're just so deeply like, in your grind energy. You're not even going to realize that it's been like a week since you've had sex. And so that's why it is going to be so important to sort of like, take yourself out of real life and put yourself into a bubble with your significant other in the future, because that bubble is going to help you guys really like reconnect with each other's like sexual energy and reconnect with like this connection. Basically, I feel like, sometimes, because you do have like a lot of things going on for you in general, it'll be a little hard for you to like find balance in your life. It's something that you're going to achieve, but I think that part of how you achieve that balance is recognizing that you do just need to take time out for just you and your partner, so that you don't feel, bogged down with your other responsibilities, because it's giving me the vibe of like, even if you try to have like a staycation with yourselves in your home over the weekend, like you could just like be thinking about work, or like you're checking your email or something, and it's like physically putting yourself in a new situation will help you detach from like your responsibilities in this world and will help you live in the moment with your future spouse. But so I think with the arrow also, I was getting a lot about if someone has a penis um, in this connection, if one of you guys is a penis haver or both of you, I think that it is exactly what the other person is looking for in a penis. I mean, like exactly this, you guys are very appreciative of each other's bodies, and especially how the other's body sort of fits and moves with you guys. I think that you guys almost feel like, you guys are like puzzle pieces with each other. I think that you guys do have a very beautiful like sexual dynamic. I think that you guys flow very easily when you guys have sex with each other. You're very just in tune with the other's sexual energy. And so I feel like it's easy to appreciate and worship the other person and their body, because it's not just that they have a beautiful body that you love to look at, but it's also like their body just fits so well with yours, and it makes your body feel so good too. you know? So it's not just like this person is beautiful, but it's also like this person is beautiful, and like, you know, the way that they're going down on me right now feels really good. So this is an explicit reading, so you guys should be prepared for this. But yeah, okay, so we're also with cheerful, mysterious, boring, tough, helpful. Those are the apples to apples cards that you guys got. So with things like cheerful and helpful, I'm getting that you guys. Okay, well, first, no, let's bring it to this Cards Against Humanity card, which says surprise sex. I think that there is going to be a lot of energy of needing to have surprise sex, and not necessarily it's a surprise to both of you, but I feel like it could be a surprise on one person's end, but then the other person plans it. So it could be something like one person plans a weekend getaway where they know that the person's going to be free because, you know, you guys both have a lot of responsibilities. So like one person is definitely going to need to plan it to make sure that the other person doesn't have any responsibilities, so that it works out. But like it is going to be planned in some way, but it's also going to be a surprise for one of you. And so I think that, you know, that sort of, you guys are going to just sort of have like this baseline sort of stagnation in your lives in general. You know, because you, and I don't even want to say stagnation, but maybe just like, you know, it's going to feel a little mundane, you know, like, or, you know, you're just going to have a lot of responsibilities. And so, you know, feel, you're going to feel those responsibilities, you know, even if, and I'm sure you guys are doing a job that you love and you're passionate about, but regardless, it's still a job, so it's still going to take some stuff out of you. So this like surprise sex, or this energy of like taking yourselves out of that situation, detaching yourselves from reality, and like just like, you know, having surprise sex, spontaneous sex, or just taking a weekend trip where you just like overindulge in each other's bodies the entire time. It's going to help you feel like a person again, you know? It's going to help you feel like life is worth living and life is exciting and happy. Because, I mean, I think that you guys know what you want, you're ambitious, you're going to go out there and get it, but there is like an energy of maybe the process of going out and getting it does feel like it's beating you down a little bit, or it's just exhausting you, you know? It's hard to think about the fruits of your labor when they're not there yet, you know, when you're only experiencing the hardships that come along with trying to reap those fruits. And so I think that this person and this, you know, sexual dynamic of this relationship is going to really help you find excitement in things, help you feel like you're a real person with a real life, instead of just feeling like you're a robot or a cog in the machine, just doing exactly what you're supposed to do every day. It's going to help you feel less disillusioned with life, more excited with life. And definitely it'll help reinvigorate this connection. But so that's also, you know, what tough and boring is about. So I think that boring is a little bit about, you know, your life. You know, maybe at times you feel your life is boring, even though it's exactly what you want to be doing. You know, maybe you're like, nope, I know that this is the career I want, but also I know that just where I'm at right now, my life is a little boring. But so this, you know, the sexual dynamic that you have with your future spouse is going to help bring you out of those boring bits. So it's like, you know, you're in the world, you're achieving exactly what you need to, you have a beautiful, healthy relationship, but then maybe it's like, maybe you feel a little bit almost too responsible, because you do have a lot of like beautiful sexual, sensual energy within you, a lot of like sexually adventurous energy, but it's like you're not able to like see that part of yourself through just because of the responsibilities that you have. And those are responsibilities that you bring upon yourself. It's like, yeah, I love this career, I love my hobbies, etc., but also I just, you know, you do have to validate the fact that, I mean, it's just sort of, it's hard to make you, it's not bringing like a lot of instant, joyous, exciting energy to your life. You know, it's, you know, your careers and everything, your hobbies, you know, there's going to be a long-term outcome and it ultimately makes you feel good, but there's not a lot of instant gratification. Okay, and I think that's like the concept I was struggling to get out. I'm feeling like this your sexual dynamic with your future spouse is going to help bring in instant gratification so that you can feel really excited and invigorated about life, so that you can have like almost like this stamina to keep pushing on and pushing forward with, you know, these other things that you do genuinely want to do and you are passionate about. But, you know, the lack of outcome, the lack of instant gratification can help you feel, or can make you feel a little disillusioned with going towards this thing and pursuing it. And so I think that the excitement that you're able to feel in your relationship and your sexual dynamic specifically in your relationship is going to help you feel like, okay, yeah, I can have like a boring life, but I can make it exciting if I want to. It's going to help you feel in control of yourself, you know? And because, I mean, I know initially when I did this reading, it wasn't like, it was a little bit weird of a message to deliver, just because, you know, you come to a reading like this and you expect really heavy, explicit, like sexual messages. And sort of the message that I'm delivering is that, you know, you don't have sex quite as much as you want to, but that's just because you have so many other things in your life that you're getting done that you feel like you want to do and need to do. And they are things that fulfill you and they're the right things, but it's like, yeah, it's hard to feel like they're the right things when you don't feel any joy in the moment. And so this your sexual dynamic with your future spouse is going to help you feel like you can bring that excitement and instant gratification and joy into your life, even when you're pursuing these things that may be a little difficult to pursue. And so let's see, we have cheerful and mysterious. Yeah, so it's just like, and helpful. So that's the helpful and cheerful. That's like, yeah, that's that energy of sex. It's going to be this, your sexual dynamic with your future spouse is going to be helpful in that it's going to just, yeah, make you feel more excited and motivated about achieving your dreams and feeling like, you know, life, I have a lot of things I want to do, but I am able to successfully bring in balance to my life. I'm able to have a fulfilling sexual dynamic with my future spouse, while also, you know, having like a beautiful, fulfilling career that I'm going after passionately. So edible underpants, surprise sex, defective condom, pictures of boobs, permanent orgasm, face disorder. Okay, so first of all, with edible underpants, yeah, so there is the energy of like, you guys may not have sex all that often, or like there may not be many days out of the week where you have sex, but when you do have sex, you go hard, you know? You're experimenting in all of the ways that you've been thinking about experimenting with that week. You know, you're like, okay, babe, like I want to do one round with the dildo. I want to do one round with like our, like, you know, S&M type things. I want to do one round with like a feather or something, you know? So you're like, you know, you're doing a lot in like one day, many rounds. That's also the defective condom. I feel like there could be just like round after another round. You guys have a lot of pent up energy, because it is almost like, you know, you guys have a lot of things that you're doing. You just have a lot of your mind, a lot of goals to get done. You're a girl boss. Even if you're not a girl, don't identify as a girl. You have girl boss energy where you're just going out, creating, getting your bag and doing stuff, and like being a, you know, a confident feminine energy while you're at it. And so I think that, you know, you're just simply not even gonna, sometimes a sex is just not even gonna be on your mind. And then it's like, so you go like a week or two without having sex, without even thinking about having sex, but then all of a sudden this person's like, hey, or your future spouse is like, hey, I booked a hotel room for us this weekend. Think about what you want to do. And then you like sexually, and you do, and you just like that weekend, it's just like you go crazy and you just like fulfill every one of your sexual fantasies that has been just like subconsciously like building inside of you during those 2 weeks where you just forgot about sex, you know? And then it's like, it scratches that itch, you know? And you have like intense, like a marathon of sex with this person over the weekend, and then it scratches that itch so that you can feel re-motivated to go back out and, you know, do things and, you know, get your bag and make career moves and stuff. Yeah, so surprise sex, yeah, that was just the energy of, you know, one person. I feel like it's never going to be a true surprise sex. Maybe it's only true surprise sex when you guys both have like a joint free chunk of time in your schedule. You know, maybe you guys were both supposed to go to like an event together, but then all of a sudden it got canceled, or you just decided to bail, and so then it's like maybe you have sex then, you know. But other than that, I think it would be one person is planning surprise sex for the other person, just because you guys both are so busy. Like you can't just truly like it's that giving me energy of like, no, I can't have a quickie right now. Like I have a doctor's appointment in 10 minutes. It's like I'm an adult. I have things to do. I can't just have a quickie right now. No, I have my doctor's appointment. But then it's like, oh, my doctor's appointment just got canceled. Want to have a quickie? And that's when you would do it. Pictures of boobs. So that's telling me I think that you guys could really send each other nudes, especially because you guys do a little bit have like, you know, like it's giving me energy of one-track minds. Maybe you guys identify with that. I don't know if you guys have ADHD or anything, but yeah, it's giving me the concept of one-track mind where you guys are like, whatever you're doing in the moment, that's what you're focused on. So it's giving me the vibe of like maybe you're just at work, like creating like a template or something, and then maybe your like future spouse like sends you like a nude or something, or like a sexy spicy text message, and then it's like all of a sudden your attention is turned to that, and that's just your little escape for like 10 minutes, you like just engaging in that like explicit conversation with them. But it's like it breaks up the monotony of like your overly focused like career driven mind. um yeah, because it's like, or also like when you go through those periods, maybe you guys do also with the airplane here, maybe you guys travel for work or something, so maybe there's also an energy of like forced separation. So you guys do just sort of like you send each other nudes, you guys want to keep it spicy, you send each other nudes, sexy text messages, maybe you guys have phone sex too. Yeah, just to keep it exciting, and to, yeah, once again just provide that little means of escapism from your reality, that just little way to prove to you, yeah, life can still be exciting and like invigorating, and it's not all just going to be monotonous career work. Okay, now I'm going well, let's see. I'll read these little poems to you because the main reason why I wanted to read the poems is for me to get intuitive messages, but like maybe you guys want to listen to them too. So this you got the High Priestess. So it says, "Are you listening? It's not a sound or a taste or smell, but rather a sensation. The muffled vibration of phone ringing through your guts. Answer." Yeah, so that's the thing that got me phone sex. Definitely you guys could have phone sex with the word vibration too, though. Maybe you guys are into vibrators, into toys. Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if you guys do have a lot of toys. I feel like, yeah, once again, like you guys may not have sex that frequently, or it's like you guys do technically have sex frequently, but like the amount of days that you have sex is not that frequent. So it's like you have sex maybe like 3 days out of the month, but you have sex like 15 times on those 3 days. And so, um, but yeah, on those days where you do, you guys could use like a lot of different types of toys, like vibrators, dildos, like feathers, handcuffs. You guys are probably very adventurous, but also it's like when you do have sex, because it's not happening constantly on a consistent basis, it's almost always like a really exciting experience when you do have sex, because it's like very chaotic. You guys are doing a bunch of stuff at once, covering a lot of ground. And then we also have the Emergent of Lattes, which is the Page of Cups. So let's read this one. It says, "Water baby, all dream journals and late night art projects, your cup filled to the very edges with art in play, never mind the actual logistics. Your childlike wonder knows no bounds, but don't forget to do your taxes." Yeah, so this is telling me yeah, it's just about like the balance that you are going to be bringing into your life, with your sexual romantic relationship, but also with, your careers and your aspirations. There's this energy of like one track mind where you're either all focused on your career at any given moment, or you're all focused on the sex or your relationship. And so, you're going to be able to successfully gain that balance of, having your career and doing things with your life, but then also being able to have like a really exciting, youthful, childlike almost sex life where, you're sending nudes, you're sending spicy text messages, you're probably role playing. I think that you guys really like to feel like you guys have a younger connection than you do. You guys like to feel like you guys are like teenagers in love who like just started like messing around together or something. Teenagers that like just met or something. You guys like to you guys like to embody that energy in your sex life because you sort of do have such like a mature, wise, driven, ambitious energy in like your career life. So you guys do really like to have a very youthful, playful, exciting, and adventurous sex life. But okay, pile number 3, I'm going to leave it there. If you liked this reading, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely subscribe if you want to keep up to date on my readings. And also, subscribing just helps me connect with your energy more so that I can give you guys readings in the future that are more closely tailored to your own energy. But okay, I'm going to leave it there. And I'll move on to the next pile. Hope you have a nice day or night whenever you're watching this. Bye, guys. Okay, group 4, if you chose this card, wings, you never needed those wings to fly. This will be your reading all about your sexual dynamic with your future spouse. So first of all, I think that sex will be very, very, very incredible with this person. I feel like specifically maybe the first time that you have sex with them, I think that you could really, it could be almost like a Kundalini awakening, I think, where you have like just a very intense sort of like sexual, spiritual experience because like with this person just like, lifting off and floating into the air and it's, saying you never needed those wings to fly and the wings are left, all the way down here. It makes me feel like, this is how you feel when you're coming during sex. You just feel like a little fairy floating off into the wind. It's like, the little angelic choir being like, ah. So that's just like a silly little image that came in my head when I saw this card. You never needed those wings to fly. I'm reading that honestly as also like, you guys don't really need that much stuff. You guys don't need to do anything special for this sex to be like off the charts. Like, I think that you guys are just so insanely like turned on with each other. I feel like there's just like constant horniness. So it's like, yeah, you guys do not like, you don't need to do anything kinky, anything exciting or adventurous necessarily. You guys could have just like plain missionary sex, but it would be like the most like mind-blowing sex ever just because it's going to be like with this other person and the connection that you guys have. I feel like probably the spiritual connection that you guys have is very, very deep. And so I think that's just going to make it like that much more exciting, that much more intense. I have these like dice, these story dice. So I'm going to get some dice about, your sexual dynamic. Let's get some dice about pile 4's sexual dynamic with their future spouse. Okay, so another group actually had the house. So that's so interesting because this happened in the other pile, but there was like one dice in the other pile that I just like really like made eye contact with before rolling them, and that was also a dice that came out. And then this happened with this happened with the fountain, and then you also have the eye and the house. So what I was saying is like right before I was rolling your die, I saw the fountain and just like, yeah, I just like made eye contact with it and like thought about the fact that I saw it. So definitely I think this is talking about, I mean, the fact that it's a fountain, it is so like explicitly obvious almost. You guys could squirt. You could squirt if you're the type to be able to squirt, they could be the type to be able to squirt, but regardless, the bodily fluids are going to be heavily flowing. You guys are going to be, if one of you guys has a penis, strong erection. If one of you guys, has a vagina, very, very wet they will be, just in anticipation of this energy. There's so especially because this girl is like coming out of the towers, like she's flying free out of the tower, and then we have this home. I feel like you guys could really like to have sex in your home together, maybe in like different places. So this is funny. Something that's coming up is like maybe you guys aren't like the sexually like kinkiest couple. Like maybe you don't like use so many toys, or you're not doing super like niche things, but maybe you just like to have sex in like new situations or something, like in a different room. You're like, oh my gosh, what if we have sex like in the kitchen? And it's like, oh my gosh, mind blowing. It's still like, maybe still just like missionary sex, but it's like, oh my gosh, in a new place. Yeah, so I think that you guys could like to have sex in different actual like places, different rooms. Like I think that that's probably going to be like one of the most exciting parts of your like sexual dynamic. You guys are going to enjoy like the spaces in which you have sex, that's going to be like a little escapade in itself. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, let's have sex in the kitchen, then let's have sex in the bathroom. Like I'm getting the energy also when you guys like move into a place together, like that's going to be like one of the first things you look forward to. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, like look at all this space now. There's all these new places that we have to have sex, all this new opportunity. With the eye, yeah, I think that you guys are just like so incredibly attracted and drawn to each other. I definitely very attracted to each other. Very, very, very attracted to each other. But also, yeah, you guys do just have a deep bond, but it's like you guys are just mesmerized by each other's energy. It's like a mix between what draws you to this person and makes you absolutely obsessed with the other person, your future spouse, is not just, their physical aspects, but also just like their energy of them as a person. Like there's a deep sort of like psychological, spiritual bond between you guys. Very passionate too. This family is also giving me the energy of just like a lot of emotions. You guys have a lot of emotions for each other. You deeply, I mean, obviously this is your future spouse. You guys do deeply care about each other, and I think that you can really feel that during sex also. And I think that's almost a little bit, maybe you guys aren't like the kinkiest people, not like the most like sexually adventurous people, but it's like you don't really need that to feel the amount of fulfillment that you guys do feel. You don't need that to feel like the sexual excitement that you naturally feel for this person. I think that you just are very naturally horny for this person, and you get a lot of excited sensual energy from just having like the same sort of like predictable type of sex that you are comfortable with having. I mean, and not to say that it's going to get like boring, and not to say that you like boring things, but just to say that like the energy that you have with this person is so naturally magnetic and electrifying that you guys aren't really going to need to do much to make it feel any more exciting. It's already going to be so much. You guys are going to have intense sexual attraction. That's also what this eyeball is giving me. It's giving me a lot of sexual attraction and a lot of sexual tension that just sort of gets built up like naturally throughout the day. Yeah, this is giving me like a very consistent energy. I feel like you guys could honestly have sex like very, very often, because I feel like you guys naturally like, even if you guys like don't work together or anything, it's like you're naturally like just feeling like horny for the person like throughout the day. You're just like the sexual tension between that person is building just naturally. It's funny. It's like almost like, just a cycle that repeats. It's like every morning you start off on like, fresh foot, but then you gradually get hornier and hornier throughout the day until you reach your max at night when you come home to this person. And then you have like incredible sex with them, and it like chills you out. But then the next morning, it starts all over again. You live your life and you get hornier and hornier again. So I think that you guys have a very consistent sex drive, and I think that it is just like on your mind pretty frequently, if I'm being honest. But I think it's mostly like your love for this person is on your mind constantly, like this connection is on your mind. You thinking about this person and maybe just what you can do with them, even if it's something like, oh, I'm so excited to get home from work so that I can like go out to eat with my person, or so I can like go on a walk with my person. But then it's like naturally just thinking about your person is also gonna like, I don't know, just like turn you on or like make you like feel horny for them also. So let's get some cards. Let's get some apples to apples cards about pile 4's sexual dynamic with their future spouse. So pile 4's sexual dynamic with their future spouse. Ooh, lots of cards wanted to come out. Yeah, I'm feeling like you guys, honestly, you guys could like orgasm very quickly with each other. So I'm feeling like there could be like, I honestly, I want to say like you know, there could be multiple rounds when you guys feel like you aren't satisfied, you know, because you do just have such like deep-rooted horniness for each other, if I'm being honest. Like, just like you are absolutely like, you're horny like for them as a person, like you're horny for their energy. And I think that that's, yeah, that's part of what like keeps this sexual flame ignited so strongly, so consistently throughout the duration of your relationship, because it's like you just simply are so hyper aware of how much you love and adore this person, and just remembering that makes you just absolutely want to get in their pants. So we have cold, which is interesting. We have cold, lively, yeah, painful, interesting. Interesting. And old. Okay, so honestly, let me look at this a little bit. So this is interesting because painful, honestly, what I think of when I hear painful is like when in regards to sex. Well, first, the immediate thing that I thought of was, you know, the pain that you have when you're a virgin and you have like sex for the first time. Like if you know, if it's with like, you know, a dildo or a penis or something, you know, the actual sensation of like your vagina getting stretched is painful. So maybe one or both of you are like virgins, or you guys were just like really celibate before coming into union with this person, or just like sort of sexually not so experienced. So yeah, maybe this could literally be referring to the pain from, you know, penetration for the first time in a while. But also with painful, it was interesting because I was getting also like, you know, S&M, that's what you think of when you hear painful in regards to sex. But yeah, I wasn't getting that you guys were so like, so kinky. But I think that you guys are, you know, you're obviously open to it. But I think that just the main message is that you guys don't need that sort of like level of kink or fetish or anything to bring any more excitement to your sexual dynamic, because it's naturally a very exciting, like breathless, very horny dynamic. But like I think that you guys are open to exploring those parts, and I'm getting the vibe honestly that you guys may not be like naturally people who like, you know, have kinks or like, you know, want to introduce kinks into their relationship regularly, but I think that you guys could be the type to just simply want to try it out. And maybe you never thought that you'd want to try out something like S&M or something like, you know, feathers or like, you know, I don't know, you know, handcuffs or something like that. Maybe you never thought that would be something that you're into, but then it's like, I don't know, like this relationship is just so sexually liberating for you. It's so sexually exciting, and it like coats the concept of sex in just like a golden aura, a golden energy. Like maybe before you didn't have the best relationship to sex, but this relationship that you have with your future spouse is going to transform that. And you're going to see sex as an opportunity for an opportunity to grow closer with your future spouse, an opportunity to grow closer to your own sensuality, and just an opportunity for pleasure. And so I think that this, you know, you could feel so comfortable and safe with this person within this connection, and specifically within the sexual part of this connection, that you would be willing to try these things that you never thought you'd want to try before. And maybe it's not even because you're necessarily interested in it, but maybe you know, you feel like the world's your oyster. You feel unstoppable with this person there by your side, and so you're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's try out handcuffs. Maybe I'm only gonna want to try it out once, but like let's do it. Or you know, maybe, you know, anal, or maybe like I'm getting, honestly, it's funny, like I'm getting you guys could really want to experiment in some like intense things, like maybe like pegging or something like that. You know, you guys could really like you guys could really be willing to experiment in some ways that may even shock you right now. But I think in the future with this person, you're just going to feel so comfortable with them and so immune to any embarrassment or shame when it comes to sex. You're going to be like, ain't no thing, let's try it out. Okay, let's get some cards again. Two humanity cards. So this is so interesting. I feel like honestly such clear, cohesive messages are able to come out when I do things like the sexual readings, which is so interesting to me because once again, I am not a very sexual person. I am a virgin, like such a hard virgin, you guys, too. So I am so surprised at like the quality of these 18 plus readings when I feel like I should be the last person who's able to give a quality 18 plus reading. But regardless, that's neither here nor there. I guess I'm just psychic. But okay, so let's get some more messages about pile four's relationships, their sexual dynamic with their future spouse. Pile four's sexual dynamic with their future spouse. Oh yeah, I think I was talking about this earlier, but I'm not sure if I finished the thought. But yeah, you guys could be so insanely horny for each other. Maybe you guys come prematurely. You or them, both of you probably. So you guys could need to like, yeah, go at this for like multiple rounds for you guys to be like satisfied in the way that you are craving satisfaction. Because yeah, you guys are literally just so, man, like your connection must be really, really special, you guys, because like each other's energy in your lives are just so singular, you know? Like this is the only type of person like this that you've met, the only type of person like this that you've felt this comfortable with. So let's get some cards about pile four's sexual dynamic with their future spouse. Ooh, okay, okay, this is interesting. So we have Viagra, and then we also had old, so maybe some of you guys are actually like, you know, old or, you know, of the age or, you know, just condition where, you know, erectile dysfunction is something that you're dealing with. Which is, I think that's just sort of like a random separate message. I mean, there's a whole bunch of reasons why erectile dysfunction can occur. And it's definitely has nothing to do with their attraction for you because you guys have such deep, intense attraction for each other. I think that, you know, if anything, they would be a little disappointed in not being able to please you in the way that they want, which is why they would use something like Viagra. But yeah, I was a little confused at like, you know, old, but so that could be your energy. That could be their energy. Maybe you guys actually do consider yourselves old, you know. Maybe you guys are just old compared to me. So maybe you guys are like, you know, 30s, 40s, 50s, something like that. Because I'm in my 20s. But also maybe you guys just have an old soul, or specifically I'm feeling like your person could have an old soul. Yeah. And we have Harry Potter erotica. Yeah, like you guys are gonna get into some niche things. You guys could also be like a little nerdy. Maybe your person's a little nerdy. Maybe you guys are gonna wanna like, maybe you guys do take what resonates, but maybe some of you guys do have some sort of like deep rooted like kink or fetish that you've like always sort of like kept really deep within you, and maybe you've always felt like you could never be comfortable enough to like actually tell a partner about that and want to like, you know, live out that fantasy. But I think with this person you definitely are going to be able to, and they're probably going to have similar sort of like deep rooted singular fantasies. And once again, I'm getting that you guys may not be like naturally super like kinky people. Maybe you are, but I'm feeling your relationship, your sexual dynamic is not going to be, it's going to be pretty, it's not going to be so, you know, riddled with like, you know, kinks and fetishes and toys and stuff. But you're going to bring it in when you feel, you know, motivated to, when you feel excited to. But yeah, I think that you guys may not naturally be very like, you know, kink heavy people, but I think that you guys too could have some like singular niche interests that maybe you've kept bottled up for a really long time because you've been embarrassed. Let's get some, oh my gosh. Okay. Let's get two other cards. I need to zoom through this. So 3 dicks at the same time. So this is so funny because once again, yeah, like such insanely sexual cards are coming out in this deck. So maybe it is like, okay, I'm also getting like, you know, there could be fingering, and the type of fingering where they also put one in a butthole, you know, where they finger multiple holes at the same time. I think that maybe if someone is able to be penetrated in this relationship, or I mean, I think that regardless, like you guys are gonna like penetration. I think that maybe, take what resonates, maybe both of you guys would even like penetration, regardless of any sort of genitalia that you guys have. But yeah, I think that you guys are gonna have like there's some sort of like just innate sort of almost like innocent energy to you guys, but also where you just have like an undeniable like vigorously sexual side to you, you know? And so I think that most of the time, like just having like pretty typical standard like sensual though like missionary type typical sex will satisfy that intense hunger, but then other times you're like, no, I want to just, you know, I want you to fuck me with a dildo right now, honestly. And maybe it's like you're just very rarely in those sort of like super horny, like erotic, kinky moods. But when you are, you're going to feel very comfortable with this person, and this person is going to be really excited to like see that through with you, you know? Because I don't want to call your like sexual dynamic vanilla, because it definitely does not feel vanilla, but I think to an outsider looking in, they'd be like, that's vanilla. Just because I think that other people having the type of sex that you guys have, maybe it's not as exciting, but you guys like just naturally your dynamic just makes it like so much more intense, so much more like hornier and sexier than it would be for other people. Then we have wet dreams. Yeah, you guys are like constantly thinking of each other and each other's energy. Yeah, like if you guys are at work, it doesn't matter any sort of physical separation, you guys are constantly in each other's minds, and I think that is because you guys do have a very strong psychic bond, so there are not many opportunities where you just sort of forget about this person or forget about your guys' connection. Okay, so now I'm gonna get a card from the Mundane Magic Tarot, because they have little poems on them, and I'm gonna read you guys the poems. Let's see, a card for pile 4 about their sexual dynamic. That was 3, and only 1, please. Card for pile 4 for their sexual dynamic with their future spouse. Alright, so we have the 8 of Lighters, which is the 8 of Wands, so that's speed. So yeah, I think that you guys may really come very quickly. You guys may really need to have multiple rounds with each other. It's like, oh my god, also like edging, that could be something that you guys do in your relationship. Like you guys know that you guys can like are so horny for each other, you guys can come quickly, so there's a lot of like broaching the orgasm but trying not to push it over that edge. There is a lot of edging, yeah, but a lot of like, you guys may just accidentally come too quickly because you guys are literally so turned on by just like this person's energy and this person's presence. This person could literally have a bag over their head and you would just be like, but I know who you are and I love you so much and you're so hot under that bag, I know. And you just like come so quickly anyway. Okay, but this poem says, a car driven off a cliff, a Rube Goldberg machine set into motion, a bullet fired out of a gun, one action, the spring hammers the firing pin, irrevocable, explosive charge enters the primer, propellant ignited, the bullet splits, force down the barrel, 1,000 feet per second, it can never be undone. Oh my gosh, I mean, yeah, that's the intensity of your guys' connection. You guys are like, you guys, I wouldn't be surprised if you have very like quick sex, you know, like if like, you know, the motion is very quick, because once again there's just such like insane horniness, it's going to be hard for you guys to like control it. There's going to be a lot of edging, but it's going to be a lot of unsuccessful edging because you guys are going to be, it's really going to be hard for you guys to control yourselves around this other person. You guys are just going to like almost feel like a wild animal, like just that has to like succumb to their like animalistic urges. That's the energy that this is giving me. But okay, pile of 4, I'm gonna leave it there. If you liked this reading, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe. Definitely subscribe so that you can keep up to date with my readings and so that I can connect to your energy that much more intimately. It'll help me put out readings in the future that tune into your energy better. But I hope you have a nice day or night whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.